Hello, everyone.
Look, it's...
It's baby Gonzo, dressed like a chick.
There is nothing wrong with your screen. Do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling the messaging in this transmission. We will tell you the topics you may speak about. We will remove any speech we deem unfit. We will identify and protect you from all that is evil. You need only put your full trust in us. We are the government, and we are here to help.
Ready to roll?
Ready to rock, Jack. Let's get it done.
So, George and I both grew up Catholics in New York. For our own reasons, neither one of us are still practicing. Now, when I was a kid, my priest was a tough guy. I played street hockey on the church league, and one time I was penalized for tripping a guy with my stick. From the sidelines, I heard a voice yelling, "You get over here, Jackie." So I got there as fast as I could. I looked up at him and I said, "I'm sorry, Father." He put his hands on my shoulders, bent forward and said, "Don't let them catch you doing that again, son." Was he telling me it was okay? No, I knew better than that. He was giving me forgiveness. Today I found such a man on YouTube, and all I could think was about the strength of the men I grew up admiring.
We've just elected a Catholic president who is diametrically opposed to all of the basic moral principles that are proclaimed by the Roman Catholic Church. And he is absolutely opposed to the basic understandings that God is the author of life. How in the world did this happen? You want an answer? I'll tell you the answer. Because our bishops have been silent for 60 years through bad catechesis and cowardice. Can you imagine if in 2012, Mitt Romney, who was running for president, Mitt Romney, who was a Mormon, a member of the LDS Church, when he was running against President Barack Obama, if he were a cigar-smoking, whiskey-drinking, coffee-drinking Mormon, can you imagine if he had won the presidency? The Mormon Church would have gone apoplectic. This is not a representation of us. They just would have said, "Oh, no, don't look at him. He does not represent what we believe." Probably would have excommunicated him. But what do our bishops do?
In the Marine Corps, and in this order, we were taught God, country, and Corps. I can only hope more strong men like this priest rise up and prioritize the laws of God over the laws of the land. George?
Yeah, so we talked about this last week with Nancy Pelosi, and in my little mini tirade there, I kind of made clear how this works, and I don't think that it's shocking to anyone. People need to understand, this priest is 100% right, whether you agree with Catholicism or you don't. It is what it is, and this priest is making that point very clear. And for decades and decades and decades, there have been positions taken politically by politicians who are claiming to be of the Catholic faith. Now, it's okay for them to take whatever positions they want, and that's not at odds here. There's no problem with that here. Where the problem comes in is where they still think that they can claim or wrap themselves in the Catholic faith. You cannot. You can decide any variety of things, but one thing you can't do, or you should not be able to do, right? Because they've been allowed to do this for decades. And that's what this priest is saying. And that's where his frustration is coming. And he's calling out their own bishops. Now, the reality of the matter is, if you're a bishop in the Catholic Church and you're giving communion to people who are pro-abortion, you're doing it wrong. You're doing your own faith wrong. How did you make it to bishop when you're just going to take people who are supporting, advocating, and creating situations where what the Catholic Church considers is murder. Okay, so and that doesn't matter what you think about it. It doesn't matter if you don't believe it's really a baby yet. If you, all those things are irrelevant. The Catholic Church believes it's murder, which means you're now giving communion to murderers. There's no way that it should be allowed. This priest, I want to say he has a ton of cojones for stepping up like this, but really he's just doing what everyone should have been doing a long time ago. In the end, they believe abortion is murder. It's a part of the core faith. It's a part of how they interpret the Bible. You don't get to, for political reasons, change that or claim that you believe in it while you go out and support policies and legislation that allow for it and enable it and even encourage it.
All right, George. Now you got your blood pressure up. It's time.
Hello, everyone. Ooh, look, it's...
It's baby Gonzo dressed like a chick.
Doesn't anyone notice this? I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
I don't want you to ride. I don't want you to write to your congressman because I wouldn't know what to tell you to write. I don't know what to do about the depression and the inflation and the Russians and the crime in the streets. All I know is that first, you've got to get mad.
Has the whole world gone crazy? Am I the only one around here who gives a shit about the rules?
You have the luxury of not knowing what I know.
I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, "I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not gonna take this anymore!"
So unless you've been living under a rock for the past 5 years, any television you've watched has had some sort of message. Any movie that you've watched has had some sort of message. There's always these messages that they're putting into their movies, and it used to be so subtle that you could ignore it and just move on and enjoy the movie or enjoy the show. But now, they're just putting out bizarre stuff. Wokeism has taken over to the point in Hollywood where there's no franchise movie that is immune from their madness. They've added woke elements to Star Wars. They've added woke elements to Marvel. They created a Ghostbusters with all women. It was the most retarded show I've ever seen in my life. Nobody watched it. It lost like $70 million, but it didn't matter. Like, it's at the point they don't even care about losing money anymore. We had a black little orphan Annie. Like, why not just create new characters and then let them do whatever they're gonna do? I mean, for Christ's sakes, you took a red-headed, freckled kid who was known for having red hair and freckles, which is a very rare look in this world, okay? There aren't a ton of gingers out there as it is. This one, all freckled up, you know, this cuteness of this kid, but you just insist that we make a movie with a black one. Like, why? Why? How does that advance the black cause in any way whatsoever? It doesn't really matter because nobody watched that anyway. The same people that watched that movie were the same ones watching the terrible, horrific version of Ghostbusters, one of my favorite films ever, that was cast with all women, just because they wanted to cast it with all women. It's not like there was a story behind it. It's not like there was some reason that it was that way. No, they just cast it with all women so that they could show, I don't know what they could show. So the reason that this is all happening is because an organization called Gala, which you probably are familiar with by now. If not, it's the Gay and Lesbian Association. And for years, they've been championing gay and lesbian rights. I put this image up because I want to make you understand the connection between all of these organizations, okay? So Black Lives Matter, the Cuban government supporting Black Lives Matter that we told you was a communist organization, and we're not the only ones that told you, but we told you. Then they come out and they start supporting the Cuban government. You've got Antifa, Sunrise.org. We did a whole piece in episode 2 on Sunrise.org. You heard from them. You heard from their Zoom call. You saw AOC jump on that Zoom call. These organizations are all connected. They're not all the same organization, so it gets kind of confusing. They each have their own different little quirks. Antifa is an anarchist organization, anarchist communist organization. Black Lives Matter is straight communism. Sunrise.org is sort of a hybrid in between. They're kind of the creepiest of the bunch, though, because less people know them, and the fact is they go after children, and they're poisoning all these crazy kids in the street. Guess where they learn all this nonsense from? The Squad, guess where they come from? On the Zoom call for Sunrise.org, they were celebrating getting the Squad elected.
19 of our 30 endorsed candidates won their seats. And we endorsed and elected some amazing candidates, including Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, and Rashida Tlaib.
So Gala has been making an effort for years, for many years, to try and get more and more LGBTQ, is that right? LGBT, whatever, you know what I mean. To try and get more people from that category into the jobs, screenwriter, writer, producer, etc. And they've been doing this not out of altruism. Understand that this is such a small part of the population that when Hollywood complies with this, they're literally discriminating against 90% of the country. I mean, transgenders, we're talking 0.6% of the country. And that's coming from liberal sources. It's likely a lot less than that. But they've been filling these positions with these people who are not getting hired on their merits. They're not getting hired because they were absolutely the best people for the job. That's statistically impossible. There just simply aren't enough of them. You're talking about transgenders being 0.6% of the population. They're not going to land multiple roles in Hollywood. It's just not going to happen statistically that they happen to be the most talented people in the most competitive job ever. Every single waiter in California is aspiring to act or be a screenwriter or be a producer. But they make their way in, thanks to Gala. And now the shows start ramping up. Now it starts getting crazy, and now it's gotten so far that preschoolers who just want to watch the Muppet Babies have to watch this.
Hey, Gonzo, you okay? Not exactly. I really wish I could wear one of those princess dresses to the ball.
Well, I hate to see a good pal feeling bad. So tell you what, I am gonna grant your wish, because I am your fairy godfather! Bippity boppity booba!
Have you ever seen such a splendorific dress? And get a load of my glass sneakers. Hello, everyone.
Look,
It's Baby Gonzo, dressed like a freaking chick. This is where we're at now. So if you're that parent who thinks, oh, well, you know, I'll just turn on Disney and that can go ahead and make lunch, or I'll turn on Disney and, you know, I'll go ahead and start cleaning the house, or I'll turn on Disney and let them watch Disney while I go ahead and get some work done. You know, whatever your story is, we've all done it. Generation X are the biggest violators of this because we simply didn't know better. And looking back, it's embarrassing how often we put tablets in front of our kids so that they consume some of this nonsense. But it wasn't as bad then as it is now. On Disney Junior, Disney is now putting this out, which is a channel designed for preschool-age kids. This is pre-kindergarten, folks. There's no reason for a preschooler to be dealing with any of these issues. There's just no reason for it. There's no reason to inject this into a young child's mind. It's just not something that they should be dealing with. If a young kid starts to say that on his own without being prodded and guided by Disney, then they'll get over it on their own. But if they're continually having this stuff pumped into their head, they likely won't. And all studies on gender identity disorder, which we're no longer allowed to call it since 2012, as they rebranded it as gender dysphoria, which does nothing more than describe all of the symptoms of gender identity disorder. But back when they were allowed to study this as the disorder that it is, they realized that in children, this doesn't last. It's a phase. They figure it out. Sometimes a girl is what used to be called a tomboy. She likes to climb trees, she likes to catch bugs, she likes to play baseball, whatever, while the rest of the girls are off doing something different. She's hanging with the boys. That's not new to society. That doesn't mean that she's going to grow up to believe she's a man. Pumping this stuff into their heads this young is doing nothing but making them prone to all of the symptoms outlined in gender dysphoria, for no reason whatsoever. As a matter of fact, there are actual studies showing that it's worse than that because they never really felt that way in the first place. So the symptoms aren't even natural, which adds another element that they'll have to deal with later in life. But parents are overturning these boards of education. One by one, they're falling like bricks. One by one by one. And we just sit back and watch them all disappear. And these teachers, those of them that are socialists, those of them who are just ignorant or have been raised in an education culture that has taught them that this is okay, that has given them a different form of the term equity and haven't connected the dots yet. As your children are exposed to all of these people and they're trying to pump this nonsense into their head, they'll go in prepared now. They'll go in knowing what to expect. If they have to keep their mouth shut to get a grade, they can. If they're like me and they'd rather speak out, they can. It won't make a difference. In the end, none of this stuff's going to penetrate because those minds will be taught before they walk in there. The days of counting on educators to teach your kids about anything other than math, reading, and basic English are pretty much done. Whenever it comes to teaching history, how to deal with social issues, how to meet people, how to deal with people, that is now fully resting on the parents. And frankly, for those that have bad parents, good parents of other children need to step in and help out and be that role model. Rant over.
And like that, he's gone.
Well, it sounds like we're getting a call. Jeannie, connect the encrypted line, please.
Yes, Master.
Jack Barnes.
I got a TV.
Well, that's great, Joe.
Yeah. They gave it to me after the puppy died.
I'm sorry. I didn't even know you had a puppy.
Yeah, only had him a couple days, damn thing. He kept peeing on my slippers. I put down Donald Trump posters down as a training mat, but he went on my stuff anyway.
Where'd you get the posters from?
Hillary sent them to me when she heard about the puppy.
Well, if you don't mind my asking, Joe, how did the puppy die?
Well, I'm kind of a rough sleeper, you know. Woke up with puppy hair up my nose.
You sniffed him to death?
I don't know. Let's talk about the TV. I got a TV, you know.
Yes, I know.
How do you know?
Hillary told me.
Damn her, that woman's always getting everybody's business. She could take the fun out of a sack of flour.
So, how come they changed their mind on the TV?
I was going nuts, being cooped up in here all the time. So I took the presidential letter opener and slashed the curtains.
Well, that was scrappy.
They're cement.
The curtains are cement?
No, the windows. Except there are no windows, just a cement wall.
Joe, are you sure you're really in the Oval Office?
Come on, man, of course I am.
Then why are they putting curtains in front of a cement wall?
To protect me from the radiation.
What radiation?
From the nukes. They said it was my own fault for giving radical white people the idea in the first place.
Okay. Well, let's go back to the TV. Is it a big screen?
Yeah, real big, and I could choose from Netflix or the Disney Channel.
That's it?
No, I got Facebook and Twitter, too. They're safe now, you know.
Yes. All too well. So, why haven't you sent me a friend request?
I can only read stuff on Facebook, but I can tweet stuff.
Well, I haven't seen you tweet anything, Joe.
That's because it's not my account. They hacked into some stripper's account and gave me access.
That sounds like fun.
You're telling me. I keep fighting with this uppity conservative chick. I got her so mad she said she was going to sue me.
Joe, what's the name of the account you're hacked into?
It's a real stripper's name if I ever heard one. Name's Cardi B. That's the oven. I gotta go. My pot pie is ready.
Do you think I should tell Candace Owens? Nah.
Community members are once again asking the Minneapolis City Council to allow voters to decide whether or not to replace the police department. The group Yes for Minneapolis delivered a petition that included 20,000 signatures to the council today. It calls for an amendment to the city charter that would replace Minneapolis Police with a new Department of Public Safety. Organizers say the new department would be funded and organize new safety programs, all led by the community.
Let me read to you a few highlights of the resolution that's been put out on that ballot. This amendment would abolish the police department and create a new Department of Public Safety, which would, number one, combine public safety functions of the city of Minneapolis into a comprehensive public health approach to safety, with the specific public safety functions to be determined. So let's vote on a plan to make a plan, right? Number two, include licensed police officers, if necessary, to fulfill the responsibilities of the public safety department, if necessary. After defunding the police, crime has skyrocketed. Thankfully, public outcry was heard by the courts, and the city was ordered to hire more police. Next on the list, remove the city council requirement to fund a police force to at least 1.7 employees per 1,000 residents. Okay, so what ratio is best? Wait, that's right. They don't have a plan. Number three, remove city council authorization to impose additional taxation on taxable property in the city of Minneapolis. Okay, well, tax cut sounds great. I wonder where the money will come from. You think they might consider a new tax when making their plan? You think it might even amount to a tax hike? Dear Minneapolis, if you vote for a resolution with no plan and rely on politicians to write it after the fact, you deserve what you get. With that said, George, I want to show you the bright side and ask you to focus your comments on this clip.
I live in Minneapolis. I was here when violent rioters took to the streets. I watched my city burn in the name of racial justice. I'm Cecily Davis, and I'm going to tell you the truth because they won't. They ignore the facts and they exploit our emotions. There's a whole lot of money in black rage. When our city was up in flames, Ilhan Omar didn't help us. She poured gasoline on the fire and made it worse. Without police, crime has skyrocketed. We don't want to defund the police. We want more police. It used to be a thriving community. Look at it now. The mob destroyed it, and our leaders let them. The businesses that were hurt the most were minority-owned businesses. They erased the economy of minority communities, all in the name of racial justice. Tell me how that makes any sense at all. I'm tired of watching our community being destroyed. Aren't you too?
Cecily Davis is going to have to be on her game. She's going to have a lot more than advertising. She's going to have an intense ground game. And I would almost say she's better off not spending money on advertising at all and focusing it all on the ground game. These districts are not that big. You know, if I were running for it, that's how I would do it. I'd be knocking on doors. I'd be going after it that way. I mean, in the end, this is what the difference is. The difference might be a few busloads of people that end up flipping this election one way or another. And I can tell you, again, the powers that be behind Ilhan Omar are huge. We heard on that Zoom call where they were celebrating the elections of their candidates. The four of the squad were in there. AOC actually jumped on a Zoom call that we showed with them. All right. And it's no game. These people are serious. They're well funded, and they're definitely going to be coming after Cecily Davis. They cannot have a black woman out there speaking on message with truth. They can't have that.
All right, George, we're going to play the pandemics, plagues, and infectious disease test. You ready?
Jesus. All right, let's do it.
All right. Which pandemic is considered the deadliest in history? The Black Plague, the Spanish flu, Carriga's, whatever he is, plague, or the 1772 Persia plague?
Well, without even going multiple choice, I would have said Black Death, so I'm going to go with that.
And you would be correct. I have a bonus question for you, though.
Uh-oh.
This is not on the test.
Wait, you mean it's not COVID-19?
Yeah, no, that was second on the list. It didn't make the list. So, what child song is associated with the Black Death?
Oh, and there's no multiple choice for this, huh?
No, this is just one I came up with on my own.
I have no idea.
Ring around the rosy.
You know what? I heard that. I actually heard that once before.
Yep, ashes, we all fall down.
Yeah.
All right, next. During the Middle Ages, how was the bubonic plague spread? Touching human feces, kissing, shaking hands, flea and rodent bites.
I'm going to say, I mean, kissing almost sounds like it's a no-brainer, but I'm going to go with, because bubonic was prior to full sanitation and all that, right? Or am I thinking of the Black Death?
The bubonic plague was the Black Plague.
They were the same thing. Okay. All right. So then I am going to go with the feces.
And I'm going to say you're wrong, because what comes to my mind is the Pied Piper of Hamelin. Remember the Pied Piper leading the rats out of the tunnels?
I do.
So let's go with, what'd you say, touching human feces? Or shaking hands? You did.
I said touching human feces.
And the Pied Piper wins.
So you had to get bit by a rat. So that many people were getting bit by rats?
Rats and fleas. Yep. All right.
Intriguing.
What
Thank
type
God
of
plumbing?
Huh?
Thank God for plumbing.
Yeah, no kidding, huh? Oh, that's what did in the Romans. All the lead. Which type of pandemic was spread to humans by infected body lice? Yellow fever, pneumonic plague, smallpox, or typhus?
Typhus.
Hey, there you
Finally
go. Okay. Why was the 1918 influenza pandemic nicknamed the Spanish flu? The Spanish doctors discovered it. Spain was impacted the most. Deaths first occurred in Spain, or the Spanish press was able to freely report on the flu.
The first deaths, well, I know there was a lot of buzz about this one because it was believed to have started in Spain, but it turns out, so they named it the Spanish flu, but then later on realized that there were earlier cases in other areas, but it just kept the name. So I don't know if the first deaths were reported there technically. What's this other ones?
And I left out part of the sentence. It says, Spanish press was able to freely report on the flu due to the country's neutrality in World War I.
Yeah, I don't think that's I'm going to go with Spanish doctors discovering it. I think I'm not sure how they would list the first deceased there, because I believe they found one later. And so go ahead with the first answer. Spanish doctors.
Spanish doctors. There we go.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't look at that one as a reason though. Like I don't know. Like I learned enough about this to never have heard that being a relevant play in anything with the.
No, and look, I appreciate the knowledge you have coming into this, but according to the test, you're wrong. So let's move on.
Let's do it.
All right. Last question. What types of creatures are known for carrying the hantavirus? Dogs, rodents, birds, or pigs?
I'm going to go with either, what is it, rodents or birds.
Well, when we say multiple choice, that doesn't mean you get to choose two.
I'm trying to use process of deduction here.
All right, just checking.
Of elimination. All right, so birds or rodents? Let's go with rodents. Hey!
Oh, let's see your score.
With the autistic process here.
Congratulations. You answered 11 of 26 correct.
Oh, then why are you saying
your score is in the 17th percentile?
It should come up and be like, dumbass.
Yeah. Wear a mask, idiot. All right, Georgie. That wraps up our game.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you for playing. Well, folks, that wraps up episode 16. George, parting words, please.
Yeah, so if you like the content, please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are also available on MeWe, which is somewhere where you can go to our page and follow us. You can follow us on Facebook as well. And last but not least, our Plan B backup plan. Check us out on Rumble. All right, folks, thank you very much. Pleasure bringing it to you. Had a lot of fun. Jack?
Thank you, folks. Take care.